terrifying, this car. It's so quick. Well, hello and welcome to another Tyrrell's Classic Workshop. It's all happening today. This is the day we've been waiting for, tuning the only original real Jaguar XJ13 in the world. I'm going to be using the trusty hosepipe and screwdriver. In fact, it's going to be two hose pipes. This is a two-pipe problem, as Sherlock Holmes would say. What can possibly go wrong? And we'll be opening the taps later, if I can fit in it, round the circuit here at Oulton Park. Well, like a lot of car manufacturers, they start off complicated and go more simple, and then they ratchet down the complexity. And Jaguar intended this engine was going to be the Jaguar V12 engine with 4 cams. Of course, the XK13 was a twin cam engine, so why would Jaguar not want to translate that knowledge and experience into the V12? But the problem is it ended up being huge, the engine, very wide, and it wouldn't actually fit in their XJ saloon, their wonderful saloon that was coming out in 1968 that sort of changed the world for Jaguar, really. So they had a problem. I mean, it's a magnificent engine. This, if I'm not mistaken, is the only one of the XJ13 engines that is gear driven, the cams on it. I believe so, yes. So this engine is unique, even in its architecture. Racing car engines, I mean, car engines are the connection between the crankshaft, the pistons going up and down, the bottom end, as it's called, and the top end, the valves all being in sync with what's happening at the bottom end, is controlled by a timing device, either a belt, a chain, on production cars because of cost, or very, very exotic engines like the DFV, the Cosworth engine, the famous Formula One engine that dominated Formula One for decades, amazing engine, all used gears to drive the cams. But the problem is gears are expensive, they're noisy, but they are extremely reliable. There's no backlash with gears, there's no stretching of chains or belts, there's no risk of them breaking. So this engine is unique. It is absolutely unique in the world in having a gear-driven top end. And that means that when it's got a very light flywheel, like this one has, there's not much inertia in the engine. So as we'll see, when you blip the throttle, the engine, boom, it picks up like a 2-stroke bike engine because there's very little inertia in the engine. And part of that is possible because of the gear cam drive. It started off with this 4-cam layout, 2 inlet camshafts on the top. The gas comes in there, and then it goes down into the combustion chambers, and then the exhaust camshaft, one down each side here, channels the spent gases into the exhaust system. And Jaguar did a load of work around this, Walter Hassan, William Haynes, and they actually trimmed down, as I said at the beginning, the complexity of the V12 and came up with what was called the Heron head, a very simple, much simpler design than this, and a much less bulky width-wise, and that became the production Jaguar V12 engine.
I think it's 60 degrees the way the cylinder's inclined, isn't it? So it makes it very nice and narrow and compact.
It is. 60 degrees. Honda experimented with 90-degree V12s in the 1960s. Honda experimented with elliptical pistons, all sorts of crazy stuff, just because they could, because they were Honda. But any self-respecting V12 is actually 60 degrees, because it's a 6. You have 6 firing pulses per 360 per crankshaft revolution, which is optimal.
And also, of course, it would have been very easy, as I'm sure they would have done in development, to have just bolted some Weber carburetors to this and say, job done. But even as far back as the late 1950s, Jaguar were experimenting with fuel injection. The lightweight E-types were fuel injected.
Precisely.
And of course, this technology was starting to become expected in production as well as racing. And this is what we've got here. And it can be quite a fussy unit, can't it, this fuel injection, because it is mechanical, so unlike all the computer control systems we're used to today.
Absolutely. This was a lot of people were experimenting with mechanical fuel injection. The electronics, the technology wasn't around in the 1950s for electronic fuel injection. The transistor hadn't even been invented in the 1950s. So it was mechanical or nothing, basically, and you had people in America, Rochester, Bosch, Kugelfischer, Lucas, all came out with mechanical fuel injection systems which demanded tiny precision engineering, aerospace engineering, to be able to meter tiny quantities of fuel at the right time in the right amount. And as you say, I know we can't do a close-up here, but this is the heart of the fuel injection system here. This is called the metering head, and it times each pulse and distributes the fuel accordingly. And it's it's an excellent system. As in any racing car engine, they're primarily built to go anywhere between half and full throttle.
Yeah.
They're not designed to idle.
Yeah.
The idle is simply, the idle is to get them from the Parc Fermé onto the racetrack.
Yes,
And then they start working. So, but the interesting thing about this engine is, the Jaguar engineers were so clever, because what can happen is if an engine is race tuned, everything is set up to get the gases inside and out as quickly as possible. The problem is they're designed to work at high revs and at high throttle, as I've explained. They don't like running at low revs. They don't like it. That's why modern cars have variable valve timing, so that the engine works properly as idle, but also the timing of when the valves open and close to get maximum gas flow is different at higher RPM. So modern cars have what's called a variator on the camshafts to alter that. Jaguar didn't have the luxury of that, but I'm confident, and this is where I am making myself a serious hostage to fortune, is that I can get this engine to run smoothly at idle, as well as obviously out on the track. We won't be using full throttle, will we?
No. Oh, no.
No. And the other thing to bear in mind is I was fortunate enough a few weeks ago to come here with the 2 D-types from the JDHT with Jock and the team, and I can fit in a D-type, okay, but Norman Dewis, the Jaguar test driver, was 5'6", apparently.
Yeah.
Getting into this is a different kettle of fish altogether, and I've been invited, once this is done later on today, I've been invited by the JDHT to actually drive this car around the track, but I'm not sure I can actually get in it.
We'll have a look. We'll see if you can.
I understand they've got 2 6-foot-long shoehorns for you. Leave you in the seat.
What about...
once you're in, you'll never leave. So
yes.
That is you
What about a crane? But no, this is a tremendously exciting thing. I'm looking for balancing, and it's the fuel injection system relies on the mechanical turning. There's a shaft here called a jack shaft that runs around the middle of the engine. It drives the distributor, and it also drives the injection system. And the timing of that is absolutely critical. We're making a lot of assumptions because Jock has done such a wonderful job of preparing this. So the valve timing is right, the ignition is set up properly. This little device here is the ignition amplifier. This was just to get nerdy for a moment, that's called a Lucas Opus system, and it was oscillating pickup system. This was a very early version of electronic ignition, but unfortunately they could overheat and fail, and they became known as the Lucas Opus system.
Well, of course, just to bring that home to some of people's cars stood around the ring here, that is the same system that you would find in all of the Series XJs throughout the late 60s and into the 70s.
Absolutely. It was important to mount it where it wasn't getting hot. So on the top of the middle of the engine, it was Hobson's choice. They didn't really have many places to put it, but of course with modern transistor technology and semiconductor technology, things like that, we can make them work beautifully. But it is all set up, isn't it, John?
Yeah, it is, yes, yeah, it is.
There's a man with confidence.
Man with confidence. Well, of course, we should also mention, Ian, that this was a big departure for Jaguar because of, talking of where things are located, the engine is not here, but it's here, behind the engine, effectively mid-engine, because of course the engine is forward of the rear axle, and that was all about getting that high-speed stability for circuits like Le Mans, and also getting that handling to be balanced from axle to axle, and that was what they were looking for. That was where all the other manufacturers in motorsport were heading at the time, and that's what makes this part of Jaguar's history so important. So I'm really excited to hear how you feel it when it's driving, and having that engine sat right behind your head is going to be an incredible experience.
Yes, yeah. I mean, the inlet trumpet is literally a handspan away from your ears.
Don't have loose earrings on; you'll lose them.
I made sure I didn't put any on this morning.
Good. Okay.
as I say, 90%, 98% of the work has been done already by Jock and the team. So we're making a lot of assumptions, but that's fine, we can do that. The injection system is, it's pretty well calibrated already. I went down to Gaydon a few weeks ago and checked it out to make sure that in preparation for this day. So the basics are there with the fuel injection system. There are three reasons why this car has to idle properly. The first one is oil pressure. When I was listening to it at Gaydon, I was aware of the fact it wasn't actually idling at the right speed. It was a bit low, and that's no criticism of anybody. It's just an observation. That's why we're here. It was idling a bit lumpy and a bit low, and that means at idle the oil pressure in any engine is critical, and 50 RPM can make the difference between 30 pounds per square inch and 10 pounds per square inch. It's vitally important that the engine, all the parts inside the engine, get fed with the right amount of oil, and if the idle is too low, that can affect oil pressure for the reasons I've explained quite drastically, and it can increase wear. The other thing is, if the mixture is out in the cylinders, if some of them are running too rich, too much petrol per volume of air, it actually causes bore wear. It causes the piston rings to wash and wear out because the layer of oil that they work with is being washed away by too much fuel. So if the engine's out of tune, it can do that. And the third thing is, this is a race-tuned engine, so the cam lobes, the actual parts that open and allow the valves to close, the lumps, if you will, on the camshafts, are working extremely hard. It's like going upstairs one step at a time.
Yes.
It's like instead of going, there's no inertia to actually help the cam to open the valve, and that takes its toll as well. So I'm looking to have the engine running not only smoothly, but at the right speed, which round about 800, 850 RPM. And I think the car will be happier, it will sound happier, and it will go happier. This is just Jock building up oil pressure, which again is very important to actually prime the engine with oil before it actually starts to revolve under its own power. And this has no cold start enrichment, it has no choke, so that's why it just requires just getting things flowing and warming up. Okay, so thanks, John.
No problem.
Okay, so at the moment the engine is not smooth. The music isn't there, and it's idling very slowly. Which, as I said earlier, I want to alleviate. I want to see if we can get it running beautifully on 12. And because it's a racing car, normally it would be fairly easy to balance this because each cylinder or each pair of cylinders has an idle speed screw. It has a rest with a screw that you can turn to adjust it. There's no such thing on this, so I have to adjust each linkage individually. Yeah, we'll try and do it as quickly as possible. I brought along for any of you who watch my YouTube channel, I use a piece of hose to do this. This is actually a two-pipe problem, as Sherlock Holmes would say. I brought two along because I'm not quite sure. I don't want to. This is beautifully sensitive aluminium bodywork on this car, and I don't want to start denting it. Thank you very much. I don't think you'd appreciate that, would you?
No, I wouldn't. I don't think the trustees would either.
No, the trustees. We don't want any disfavour with the trustees. So I'm going to use this. I'll start with this bank. So what I'm doing is just listening first of all. Each cylinder on a 4-stroke engine has like a thump when it sucks the mixture in. So I'm listening for that thump the thump from the sump. Hopefully not. And we'll just get it. See what's going on inside first of all. Okay, this end cylinder is ripe for adjustment, so I'm going to just grab a spanner and do that now. Okay, I'll just tighten that up again. What size are these? 5/16? Okay, I've done that, just that side. I'm just going to come around this side and see if there's any obvious low-hanging fruit in terms of ones that need adjustment. Yeah, this front one. I'm not just listening for the thump. I'm listening for the what's happening in terms of the mixture as well. So if it's too rich, I get a hissing noise, and if it's too lean, if there isn't enough fuel, I get like a crackling noise through the inlet. Let me see if I can demonstrate. Okay. This one here has got quite a nice thump, as I would call it, so let's see if we can pick that up on the mic. Perfect. Now if I put this on the front one, big difference. Okay, so I'm going to increase the front one now. A naughty little car this, but anyway we'll get there. Okay, let me just listen to that one now. Okay, go around the other side again. Yeah, I'm still not happy with this back one. I'm just going to have another go at that. Jock, would you mind giving that a rev now? Yeah. Okay, for a race tuned V12, I think that's about as good as we're going to get it. But anyway, it's firing equally on all 12 now. I'm happy with the fueling. It should go very well on the track. That was quite a lot of pressure. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Jock, you look a bit worried there. Do you think I'm not going to fit in this?
Yeah, well, a little bit worried, but I think we'll give it a go and see what happens. What's the worst that'll happen?
Well, I bend the car?
Well, yeah, that's not my responsibility then. But we can give it a try anyway.
Okay.
We can give it a try.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I know Neil had concerns about me getting it, because Norman Dewis, of course, was 5'6".
yeah, he was tiny, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, let's give it a go. So where can I...
My recommendation, you can stand on here, you can stand on the seat if you want to. Try not to put any
Yeah.
weight on that. Try not to put too much weight on that.
Yeah.
And then it's a case of getting in and kind of sliding, shall we say.
Right, okay.
It's a difficult thing to do because you always want to grab that piece.
Of course, it's human nature, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not too
There
bad.
you go. Oh, you just got to get your back out now.
I don't think that's going to be as easy as getting in.
No. I think is there a telehandle around here somewhere?
By the time I've got this on,
Yeah.
there's not going to be much left, is there?
No, not really. No.
But
Now I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure
so
it will be.
can you please guide me through how this?
Okay. Well, you got main power switch just here to the right here, down by your right elbow. Main
Yeah.
power switch there.
Okay.
And then you've got your ignition, fuel pumps.
Yeah.
So normally, if you go from a cold start, you do ignition. Don't put the pump on. Press the ignition down again. That'll be your start.
To prime it.
To prime it, yeah. To
Yeah.
get the oil pressure up. As soon as the light goes out, and you see that the dial just flicker a little bit, we're good to go. Because again, once we put the pumps on, it takes quite a while for the fuel to get to the injectors.
Of course.
And then to fill the injectors up and then start filtering through.
Yeah.
So it's kind of good to go from there.
Right. Okay. So that. And the ZF gearbox, dogleg first.
Yeah, dogleg first gear. It's a little bit notchy. It's one of them things I haven't had a chance to have a look at properly to make it a lot smoother. Whether I can make it a lot smoother, I don't know. But it is a little bit notchy. So if it does jam, just give it a little bit of a tug and a little bit of a wiggle, and it should come free and start.
Fantastic.
And start
Okay.
operating again.
Shall I try and get out now?
Yeah. We might as well have a giggle.
Oh, this is so graceful. I can just...
There we go. That weren't too bad.
Thank you very much.
No problem at all. Hope you enjoy.
Thank you. What can... Yeah, no, I'm not even going to say that.
Yeah, do. Yeah. Request if you give it a little bit more.
We've made it into the Park Fermé, the assembly area. As you can see, I'm surrounded by wall-to-wall historic fast cars, 5 XJ13s. Bearing in mind this car's extreme value, its pricelessness, I am not going to be pushing it. I'm quite happy if everybody else overtakes me. I just want to come back into the pits in one piece with this car. Of course I'll be driving it. I've been set a rev limit by the Jaguar Daimler Heritage Trust of between 5,000 and 6,000 RPM, which is plenty actually. Well, here we are. This machine is savage. It's as raw as you like. on the move. The gearbox is an absolute delight. I was dreading the changes on this, but it's amazing. And that V12 is singing. Able to double declutch, heel and toe magnificently well. It's just raring to go. This is raw, so raw. The emotions here. This is absolutely terrifying, this car. It's so quick and so visceral. Yeah, she's suffering from a little bit of fuel surge, but she is an old lady. So we can forgive her that. I still think Jock and the team have done some amazing work getting this car, this 60-year-old car, even able to move. Going to have to go into the pits because this fuel surge is pretty bad.
We are still finding problems with the car. Yes. So obviously I've done a very kind of light recommissioning.
Yes.
So as the car is getting used more and more, we are finding little things along the way. So it's a gift that keeps giving.
Yes. Well, I understand that. I mean, it is precious. It's 60 years old, nearly.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot to go wrong with something.
Yeah,
It's a
there
very
is.
complex piece of machinery.
It is, yeah. Considering it's the only one, the only factory-built car, there isn't anything out there that we can reference it to.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff we are learning. Well, I am especially. I'm learning as I go along.
Yeah. Jock, thank you very much.
No problem at all. Thank you for looking after it.
It's back in one piece.
Yeah, back in one piece, and sounding a little bit sweeter than it did before.
Oh, that was an incredibly special experience. Absolutely amazing, really. It was almost sensory overload. There was so much going on. I couldn't really see out of the back of the car. I was aware of the fact that there were much faster cars than that will ever be, and much faster drivers. But having said that, the car is amazing. The engine is just fabulous. When it comes on song, I limited myself to 5,500, 6,000 RPM, but that was plenty. The car obviously is very light, a 5-litre 4-cam V12, amazing power to weight ratio. There was some fuel starvation problems, which were getting worse. So I think I've just been talking with Josh here, and I think that's with Jock, rather, from Jaguar Heritage, and I think he's going to take the tanks out of it this winter and have a look at those. It's a fuel starvation thing. But other than that, the car was absolutely spectacular. It's got a ZF gearbox with a dogleg first, likes fitted in the Aston Martin V8s, Fiat 130s, things like that. They all use the same gearbox, but it has a complicated linkage that goes from the lever, which is right on the A-post, back to the back of the car. And that linkage is very tricky. You have to sort of intuitively almost take a breath between each gear change. But overall, I was actually lost for words. I was trying to describe how the car was to drive, and I actually became lost for words because it was just so amazing. No visibility, very little room, but apart from that, absolutely amazing. Well, that concludes another Tyrrell's Classic Workshop video. Please remember to subscribe, it is important, and we'll be back with something else very soon.